Thank you very much, Sharks. We have our first contender for the 2014 World Championship. It is Samsung White. Holy crap, did they deliver in that series.
Wow.
We've got a replay lined up that I think really summarizes the entirety of this series from very early on in Game 3. Let's get this up onto your screen very quickly. We don't want to go too micro, too granular, but let's roll the clip out and maybe Crepo, talk us through the initial double kill for Blue.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first spark of hope we've seen from Blue in this series. It's like, this play is all, like, it's uncounterable. You would even argue that White should not even get Looper involved, but I think what comes next shows exactly why, like, Looper was needed there.
Yeah, and if we come around here, now this is Samsung Blue now moving towards the Dragon, but this is the mistake because they do fight this Dragon quite poorly, and I'll talk about it in a second, so...
Yeah, Sona's just only level 5 right now. It's so risky to do a Dragon fight, and if you look at the series, this is not the first time.
Right, and of course, there's a reason why we call Dandu the Prince of Thieves, and that's it right there. Comes in for a pretty easy steal even through the gold card stun.
And look at that flash from Acorn. He isolates his team. He's actually the tankiest guy on this roster. He'd love if Fizz fought him, but he gets 0 damage as the team gets mopped up.
Yeah, Acorn was really the problem there. I think if he had stuck in the fight that they would have been able to actually at least survive alive.
And this is the point when I just knew Spirit is completely out of the game. I'm not going to expect him to play well for whatever rest of the series there is because he got Dragon stolen from him by Jace previous, and then now it's just too crushing.
Yeah, and I think the takeaway here, which is very interesting to me, is we've seen similar compositions. Samsung White lost to TSM with a similar comp. Alliance lost to Kaboom with a similar comp. Very low wave clear. The only way they win this game is by winning a skirmish that is forced to Dragon because they don't have great engage, they don't have wave clear, and so they found probably... Blue found like one of the few ways they could have lost. If they had gotten that Dragon, it would have changed a lot.
Yeah, and speaking of skirmishing, I actually want to point out Looper. I thought beginning of the series, oh, it's Dandy versus Spirit. I think the make-or-break matchup here was definitely Looper versus Acorn. Acorn got absolutely destroyed. Looper brought out a bunch of new champions. Looper had a 52 KDA in this series, 19-1 and 33. He was ridiculous, and he's going to be fun to watch in the finals.
So let's take a step back and talk about the team holistically and the performance. I want to highlight the mid lane matchup of Pawn and Dade right at the end of the game there. You know, Pawn completely shone this series. He destroyed Dade multiple times, and Pawn really impressed. The thing that stands out for me is Dade, of course, was replaced in Samsung Blue. At the end of the series, an incredible show of sportsmanship. He actually hands his jacket to Pawn. This is something that I personally found very meaningful because Dade, he wears that jacket all the time. There's a bit of a history that he never gets rid of it.
Yeah, in interviews, he said, in Champions, in post-match interviews, that, I mean, he said some weird stuff, like that it's like imbued with the power of his sweat and things like that, but he has a very strong emotional attachment to this jacket. He constantly references it.
For the player to give the jacket to his teammate who took his position, you know, I respect that a lot. But Samsung White completely outclassed every single one of their opponents this series.
Yeah, for me, the MVP, I guess everyone has their own MVP, but for me, it's Pawn. I think he's the mini faker of this Worlds, honestly. I always rank players by versatility in champion pool, consistency, and mechanics. This guy's got all three. He's got it locked down. He's better than pretty much every mid laner in the world right now.
Honestly, what impressed me the most is that, like, League of Legends is a team game, right? So to come close to perfection, you need to work well as a team, aside from all those mechanics and individual play. And Samsung White is the closest thing I think we've seen League play to perfection, barring maybe SKTT1 last year in some of the games, but they're just playing so beautifully, so on point. And yeah, they're forcing the enemies constantly to make these uncharacteristic mistakes. I mean, Blue is generally really a good strategic team, but their strategy just fell through the entire series, and that's just because White is putting on so much pressure.
Yeah, I have to absolutely agree. I mean, there's the interesting champion selects. Again, the Singe top, the Akali top, that was great. But also, just the fact that we even saw, like in the first game replay, Mata already roaming down the pre-orchestrated ganks. These guys are playing the game at the very least 20 seconds ahead, but they're probably planning the moves even farther. But you can see it consistently in their gameplay. Everyone's on the same page. They all got the same goal, and they execute cleanly when that happens.
So I've got a question for Monty just for a roll on. Do these guys have a weakness? It feels like, I hate this reference, I'm going to use it, I hate this weakness. But it feels like every single member of their roles is the faker of their role. I hate saying that, but...
No, I mean, of course, the good teamwork is covering up a lot of the flaws, but I think what's so interesting is, you know, Freak and I had talked about in the previous show a little bit, was the pick and ban phase going to be their weakness? Was this like kind of intentional sandbagging or a little bit of cockiness, or was this actually just them making bad pick and ban? And I think the difference critically between the Game 3 that we saw against TSM and the Game 3 that we saw here is that we saw Pawn, their priority in terms of picks, change to later. We didn't see him picking up that early mid laner, blind picking his mid. Instead, he picks Fizz as a counter matchup to Twisted Fate, and that really made a lot of difference in how the lanes went and allowed them to snowball instead of just getting all the lanes shoved in.
Yeah, what was so sexy about that as well was they early picked Kassadin after Ryze, saying, well, it'll just go in whatever lane Ryze goes in, pick your other champion, and they got guaranteed 2 counter picks. So good.
So let's just move this on a little bit, pull up the bracket and see exactly how this is shaping up. Now that we do have one of the teams locked into the World Finals next weekend, they'll be going up against one of the Chinese squads. Samsung White 3-0 against Samsung Blue. Tomorrow, we will be seeing where the Starhorn Royal Club or OMG will advance to the World Finals. I have a question for both Doublelift and Crepo. What do the Chinese squads do after seeing that?
Well, first of all, they'll need replay analysis, and after like some intensive stat tracking, I found that the only loss Samsung White has suffered has been against TSM. So I would really look at that game carefully.
I can't do this anymore. I can't take this analyst test seriously anymore.
They just need a lot of luck
done here.
because I think they're
Apple
just,
pie.
I think both of them are outclassed.
Let's get a legit answer. What does OMG or Royal Club have to do to win tomorrow?
For me, it's like delaying your execution. If they win tomorrow, it's like, all right, we're going to survive for another week, boys. But it's like, you're just dead. I don't know. It's so hard. I think the best, like the only avenue they have is if Uzi just hard carries against Imp, who for me is the weakest link, but you can't even really call him a weak link because he's still really, really good.
Yeah, I think that's the only area where they can actually be exploited if they punish them bot lane in the laning phase. But even then, I just don't see it.
Yeah, I think it's partially Samsung Blue underplayed a little bit. Acorn played worse than he's supposed to. Spirit was outmatched. But you have guys who showed up real well, right? You have guys like Leveling, who had a great series. You've got guys like Uzi, and you've got guys like Going. And if enough of these matchups go equal, and we even saw, like, the gank heavy comp by Samsung Blue of everyone show up bottom lane and kill somebody. Like, you go all in on something, you get someone ahead, and you rely on that person. It is a long shot, but I think the chance is definitely
Just
there.
tilt them.
Monty
Just
Cristo,
tilt them.
let's see, how does OMG or Royal Club tilt Samsung White in the finals?
You rotate
Well,
them,
okay,
and they
there
become
we go.
tilted.
There we go. I think that's how
It is
it
secure
works.
your rotations.
Yeah, exactly. You got to rotate the tilt.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Nobody's had an answer to this team, and we talked about coming in. The picks and bans were going to be really open for White, and they just got the doors just keep opening wider on what they can do in terms of their team compositions, in terms of their pick and ban priority. And now Dandy is finally. It took him until the semis. I mean, you see how scary that Rengar is. He hasn't even felt a need to use it up until this point. And where does it go from here? I honestly say that if Starhorn or OMG, like whichever one makes the finals, you have to believe that if they can win this World Championship, it would be one of the biggest upsets in League of Legends history.
Well, I think on that one, we're just going to have to roll this one forward, guys, because tomorrow we will get our second best-of-5 semi-final between Chinese team Starhorn Royal Club and OMG. The winner of that match will take on Samsung White in the Sangam World Cup Stadium for the Summoners Cup and the title of World Champions. We'll start the finals at 3 p.m. local time with a 30-minute pregame show. Then it's a special opening ceremony with the traditional Korean elements, the introduction of the teams, and a live performance of Warriors by the one and only Imagine Dragons. After that, the action begins as the finalists battle it out for the right to join Fnatic, Taipei Assassins, and SK Telecom T1K as world champions. After the Summoners Cup is hoisted, stick around because we will celebrate the champions with fireworks, music, and extended post-game wrap-up show. So guys, mark your calendars for Sunday, October 19th at 8 a.m. Central European Summertime, or if you're in the Pacific time zone, that will hit your streams at 11 p.m. on Saturday, October 18th. Guys, visit us at lolesports.com for the full schedule, world final information, and make sure that you've got the right time zone in your area. That does it for us today here at the Olympic Gymnastics Arena in Seoul. I'd like to give a special thanks to our ever-insightful analysts, and for myself, casters, Monty, he's supporting Samsung all the way, the entire world's broadcast crew. Guys, thank you for watching. It's been a good one.